Just want to begin by saying good afternoon. I am Dr. Mavis Hendricks, a clinical psychologist and a corporate trainer. And with me on the back end is Arya from Team Trijog. Now, Trijog is one of India's leading organizations working to deliver quality, accessible services to individuals and corporates at large. With Ethika, today we've partnered together to provide you with a wonderful webinar on the next level you intentional growth for 2026. But before I begin, I want to ask all of you, how are you feeling? I'm not asking you how you're doing. I'm asking you, how are you feeling, or what are you feeling at this very present moment? Are you excited? Are you happy? Are you stressed out, worried, overwhelmed? Uh, do you feel like, I do not know what 2026 has in store for me? Okay, many of you say you're excited. That's wonderful. Worried? Also an emotion, and probably at the end of this session, after this session, let's hope you're going to be less worried. Now, most people don't fail because they lack ambition. They fail because their behavior is misaligned with their intent. How many of you agree with this statement? How many of you all agree that many a times we fail not because we lack the ambition, but because maybe we forget the journey, or we do not really understand what it takes to reach that particular position, right? So this quote definitely resonates with today's webinar that we're going to be doing, that talks about why goals fail, why we don't succeed, and many a times, why do we break habits and we're not able to manage them well, right? So performance planning gap is my number one concern. Let's hope at the end of this session, that concern is addressed, right? Moving on. Now, I want you to pause and notice here, how many of you in your past new year have noticed that goals lasted beyond February? How many of your past New Year goals lasted beyond February? You can put your hands up if, or you can write in the chat box, yes, if they've lasted beyond February, or no, if they've ended before February. So it's not lasted an entire year, on and off. Absolutely right. And I think all of us struggle with this. It doesn't necessarily have to be with a New Year resolution only. Sometimes even with basic behavioral outcomes, we are not able to be consistent, right? Moving on, next. So where does execution usually break down, right? Why do we need to pause and notice, where does execution break down? Number one, clear goals, weak follow through, right? You have a goal, you have a set plan, you know you want to achieve it, but you do not follow through on it. A simple example, you wake up in the morning and you say, I'm going to have an amazing day today. But what do? You end up sitting on your phone and doom scrolling, and you waste so much of time. And then everything else seems to have a domino effect. Second, competing priorities. We live in a world constantly where emergencies crop up, priorities change, and when we have competing priorities, we tend to give more importance to something else sometimes. It also usually breaks down because energy and cognitive overload happens too much. We're not able to handle it and we're not able to say no. Most of us might be yes people where we agree to everything and we're not able to follow through on that. And finally, inconsistent habits, not sticking to what we do. Now, we have a habit every single day. We might eat at a particular time, or our body feels hungry at a particular time, right? But yet we're not able to stay true to certain habits because we do not prioritize them and we do not make it a part of our routine. So why New Year resolutions fail? How many of you all in the chat box right now, tell me, have made New Year's resolutions? Yes or no? Don't tell me what the New Year resolution is, but yes or no? Okay, there's a mixture. We've got no, no, yes. Okay. How many also believe that your new year has not yet started because either you've been too sick or you've been too overwhelmed or you've been too occupied and now you feel that on Monday you're going to start your new year and new year resolution? Okay. Many people have been falling sick, so they feel that new year has not started on a great note. So maybe I'm going to start on Monday. All right. Okay. So there is a classic goal setting that we assume, right? The classic goal setting is based on three factors. Number one, rational behavior. Now, what is this rational behavior? It refers to making choices that maximizes your personal benefit or utility. So I'm making a choice that will benefit me in the future, right? So let's say I have a goal. I want to exercise regularly. That is my New Year's resolution. And I want to get fit. That's rational behavior. You are expecting something out of it. Right? Stable motivation, second, it comes from building internal resilience or consistent habits and linking action to a purpose. So we want to form a routine, right? So all goals, when we create a resolution, we hope that we will be motivated. And finally, we want to see that progress, that linear progress, where we see a display that moves steadily from start to finish. So if you've been consistent, if you've been motivated, you hope to see change in the very next month, right? So for example, loading a file, completing a workout, you want to see that you're able to manage it better. However, what is the reality of a New Year resolution failure? Number one is that humans are context driven. Now, when we say humans are context driven, our perception, our decisions, our language, our behaviors, everything is shaped by surrounding information, right? It's shaped by our environment, it's shaped by our culture, by certain social norms, experiences. So, what happens here is we allow ourselves efficient adaptation, but we also have a potential bias, right? We are not able to understand what is the most important aspect of us. That's the reality. We get distracted very easily. Second, behavior is automatic. Much of our behavior is automatic, right? Like driving, walking, after some driving becomes automatic after some time. You know how to drive, right? Walking, you've learned over a period of time. They are well-learned skills or reflexes. But many a times our brains want to conserve energy. So whenever we get a complex task, what we do is we end up doing something that's easy. For example, let's say your New Year's resolution will be to cook a new dish every day, right? And you've started really well. But after some time, everything becomes automatic. You feel it's too much effort to try a new recipe every day. It's too much effort to, try a new type of cuisine. So I will just go back to what I know really well. Finally, stress overrides your intention. Now, when you say stress overrides intention, means that it is supported by psychological research, right? Which shows that acute stress, if we have, it can impair goal directed behavior. So, here it can be of two types. You have a system one, which is your habitual stress that you react to, which is fight or flight. Some danger is there, you either fight it or you run away from it. And the system two, which is the reasoning, you're going to constantly look at the ways and the pros and cons of every situation and then take a decision. Finally, why it fails? The reality is the environment beats our willpower. Right? It means your surroundings, your habits, the people you're with will have a greater, more consistent influence on your behavior than your sheer self-control. Take, for example, group of friends you've met after a long time, want to hang out, and it's your gym time or it's your time where you need to spend on your health. You will say, I'm going to see my friends once in a while, so it's okay, I'll adjust, I'll skip gym today and meet them. So many a times we do this, right? Environment beats the willpower that we have. So now I'm going to show you some statements, and I want you to tell me whether these statements are a myth or a fact. You're going to see a statement in the center. You need to tell me, is it a myth or a fact? All right, so let's look at the first one. The first one is high performers are more disciplined than others. What is this? Is this a myth or a fact? All right, let's see what the answer is. Next, it is a myth, right? So those of you all who say it's a fact, it's actually a myth. Now, high performers are not successful because they have more discipline. They succeed because they build clarity to regulate emotions. They align their actions with their identity, and they protect their energy. Discipline may start performance, but self-leadership sustains it, right? So this is important. Next one. Motivation comes first, action follows. Myth or fact? Everyone saying it's a myth, a few saying it's a fact. Okay, let's see what the answer is. This is also a myth, right? In reality, obviously, for you to do something, you need to act upon it. It's not the other way around, right? Small, consistent steps build momentum, and then it keeps going. Simple thing. You want to go to work today, you're not feeling like it. You're tired, you're exhausted, but you still need to get to work. So instead of making an excuse, why not go at least dress up in your work clothes? Automatically, your brain understands and will start to continue the process. Consistency is the result of simple systems and habits. Myth or fact? Everyone saying fact? Let's see. Keep those answers coming in. It is indeed a fact. Consistency is the result of simple systems and habits. The more consistent you are, the more efficient you will become, and the more automatic the behavior becomes, right? Just start putting it into practice. Let's say you want to be on time. You struggle with time management, and you are someone who this year says that I will make sure that I am on time with whatever I do. I'm not going to procrastinate. You start small. You start with maybe 5 minutes earlier, 2 minutes earlier, reaching wherever you need to reach. And then you will notice that your brain also will start registering the same consistent pattern, and it will follow. Next, being busy means being productive. So as long as I'm showing my boss I'm busy, I'm productive. Let's see if this is a myth or a fact. Everyone's saying it's a myth. 100% myth? You don't agree that sometimes being busy, showing that you're busy, it's productive? All right, let's see what the answer is. Definitely a myth, definitely 100% a myth. Does not necessarily mean that you're being productive just because you seem busy, right? Being productive means showing an accomplishment. Having something, some weightage, something accomplished, something productive means that you have something to show for it. So it does not necessarily mean that just because you're busy, you will have something to show, right? So it is a myth, and it is something that you need to vow not to do this year without having some sort of accomplishment for it. Next. Quitting after missing a day breaks the habit. Myth or fact? Quitting after missing a day breaks the habit. 60% fact. Myth partially. Okay, let's see what the answer is. Right. Quitting after missing a day breaks the habit. Definitely true, specifically when you have something known as when you miss 2 days, right? So when you miss 2 days, let's say you break the habit on the first day. You want to get consistent, you've not gone and you've not followed through on it. The second day, instead of you quitting, you need to attempt it. When you quit 2 days in a row, automatically the habit forming, the brain registers that this is no longer needed and it is no longer being followed through. So in fact, this will definitely lead to you in the long run finding it more difficult to become more and more consistent, because the brain is registering the fact that this is a person who starts something, ends the next day, doesn't follow through on it. So the moment you are following through on it, even if it means following through for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the brain will still register that this is something that needs to be consistent. Next, burnout often happens because people don't recover enough. Myth or fact? Okay, let's see what the answer is. Definitely a fact. Most of the time, because we're so exhausted, we haven't recovered fully, we end up experiencing major burnout, right? And this may be physical burnout, emotional burnout, social burnout, whatever it may be, right? We don't recover. And most of the times, we are in that headspace where we feel it's okay, I can manage it. Today, as of today, I want you to decide now that burnout is not something to be taken lightly. You need to recover fully before you're able to take in more, right? A simple example, you're eating food, right? And while there is food in your mouth and you're chewing, can you add more food in your mouth? No, right? It's going to become an overload. It's going to become difficult to digest. So, in the same way, when you are undergoing stress and you are already experiencing so much of emotional burnout, can you handle more? No, because the decision making will always be faulted. Moving on. If something is important, it should feel easy to do. Let me know about this. Myth or fact? This is a fact or a myth? Come on, keep those answers coming in. Myth, not necessarily easy. If something is important, it should feel easy to do. All right, let's see what the answer is. This, in fact, is a myth, right? Because most truly important goals often require significant effort, discipline, and pushing beyond your comfort zones. The easy feeling often comes after the hard work and not instead of it, right? And relying only on motivation is not enough. You also need to look at the real achievement requires consistent action. Stress means you are not coping well. Myth or fact? Stress means you're not. Okay, 50-50. We have mixed reactions here. Okay, let's see what the answer is. It is definitely a myth, right? Stress does not necessarily mean that you're not coping well. It also can mean that you are doing really well because you're using the stress to perform better. So, in this case, perception of the stressful factor needs to be looked at. How am I perceiving the stress? Am I looking at the stress as one which is going to help me do better? Is it pushing me to achieve something? Or am I getting overwhelmed by it such that I just can't handle it? Okay. Yes, absolutely right. Use stress and de-stress. That's what it is. Okay. Moving on. Next. All right. So we have a strategic reflection activity now. I want all of you to just close your eyes for 30 seconds only. Okay. And I want you to look at or to recollect one goal you knew was very important to you, but the execution failed. Okay. It was very important to you, but the execution failed. If some of you all want to share the goal, you can also share it in the chat box. But I want you to think of this goal. What was that one goal was very important to you? But not the planning, the execution failed. Okay, think about it, 30 seconds. All right, once you've thought of it, I want you to think about this question. Was the behavior clearly defined? Did I act the way that was needed for me to act to accomplish that goal? Let's be true to ourselves. If we failed, we failed, but today we are going to renew certain things and we will work on them. But I need to understand for myself. If I don't understand that I have failed, if I do not understand that the execution failed, I'm not able to make a correct decision, right? So ask yourself, was the behavior clearly defined? Did I put in the effort that was needed to achieve that goal? Second question, ask yourself, was the environment supportive? Did you have family, friends, the physical environment around you? Was it supportive in order for you to reach or achieve that particular goal? And third, was success measurable day to day? Did I measure the progress every single day? Or was it just on a monthly basis, yearly basis, or at the end of the year, I noticed this was something I did not achieve? Okay. Now in the chat box, I want you to tell me, did you all ask yourself these questions, or did you just reach a point where you just said, I have failed in this goal? If you have said it, just put your hands up. You can say, I've done this, or it's me. I have never questioned. I've never looked at any goal with these three clearly defined questions. I've always just looked at it as a failure. You can say me if this is something that you have experienced. Maybe the environment was not supportive. Maybe you were moving a lot, or you had certain other priorities that the goal failed because of. Right? In the chat box, let me know after this reflection, how many of you usually ask these three questions, or how many of you just end up, saying that this goal was not achieved last year. Okay, you do ask. Wonderful. What about the others? Do you measure your success every single day? Or do we just look at it as, oh, if I achieve it by the end of the year, it means that the goal has been accomplished? Okay, team, we are 73 of us here, and I'm still not getting any responses. I've got just one. What about the others? Do you feel stuck? Or do you feel stuck? Okay, we have an evaluation every month. Okay. Is there anyone who feels stuck or anyone who's not achieved? Okay, moving on. Now, this is an important part, and this is where we reach the point when we need to convert our resolutions to intentions. Okay, so I like what your colleague has said here. When I give 100%, I usually fail in an interview or a relationship. 100% true people used to support me, but I always needed that one who should be with me. All right, this is good to accept. It is good to acknowledge. And hopefully, after I teach you how to change resolution into intention, things will get better. Okay. So we move on to the main part today, where you need to move your resolutions to intentions. Now, let me explain this in simple words to you. What is a resolution? It's a firm, rigid decision for an outcome, for a specific outcome, right? So, for example, I want to lose 10 kgs, I want to run a marathon, I want to eat healthy, I want to be on time to work, I want to stop procrastination, I want to read a book every month, right? These are all resolutions. So, it's a firm decision to do something, right? The focus is specific. The mindset is all or nothing, right? That means if I fail in this, I feel like a total failure. And the nature is very goal driven. It's like a punishment or like a chore that you have to do. Whereas intention, right? Intention focuses on the journey and feeling. What do I feel? What is the journey going to look like? And how am I going to enjoy myself on this journey? So there is a purpose, there is an aim, there is a guiding principle with intention, right? For example, you want, instead of saying, I want to lose 10 kgs, you can say, I want to treat my body right, or I want to ensure my body is in the best of health, right? The mindset is that it is journey focused. It's allowing you for adjustment and course correction, right? Intention means that if you feel your resolution is diverting a little bit, you're able to make certain adjustments to deal with it better. And finally, the nature is that, you don't feel so wired down. You feel that you can breathe. It's value based, right? So let's look at this simple example here. Okay, when we look at a resolution and an intention, what I want versus how I operate. Okay, now, why is it so important for us to align our intentions? And why intentions often work better? Because they align with deeper values and they make you resilient, right? So resolution will be like, I want to lose 10 kgs. How I operate will be your intention. For example, I will ensure that I will do some physical activity every day. How are you going to operate? Resolution is always external, whereas intention is internal satisfaction. Resolution is a short horizon. Intention, we're looking for the long journey ahead. And resolution is motivation driven, but intention is identity driven. Who do I want to be? By the end of 2026, who do I want to be known as? And what is my journey going to look like? That is your intention. So today we are going to move from resolutions to intentions. No more setting New Year's resolutions. We are going to be setting New Year's intentions. Okay, moving on. So let's reframe and see. I want you to convert one old resolution into an intention. Let's say last year you had some New Year's resolutions, and this year also you've already made some of them. Convert it into an intention, right? In the chat box, you can give me the converted version. What is the original one that you have had in mind, and how would you want to convert it? Right? Can we see a few of you share certain resolutions to intentions? So an example would be, I should exercise more. The intention is, I intend to respect my body. So what happens? It's a journey. Your mind gets tricked into believing that you are doing the best you can. And it allows you to make certain adjustments. Anyone would like to share an example? We would like you to share an example rather, just to help others know. Okay, you intend to get a six-pack. Okay, wonderful. But instead of saying six-pack, right, that is again value-based. You can say, I intend to get fit. Okay, I intend to get fit with a focus on a six-pack. Okay. So the intention is like, yes, during the year, I will do whatever it takes to reach that particular position. And I wish you well. I hope you do get that six-pack at the end of 2026. What about the others? Okay, I want to maintain my body to stay fit and fine, and I just want to be well settled for that. I need to focus more. Okay, so how would you change this as an intention? You would say, I intend to maintain my body physically, and I intend to work and focus more. Okay. Resolution, I should fix my sleep cycle. Intention, I intend to get more time for myself in the morning. A wonderful example, but let's look at sleep cycle because you want to change that, right? So I intend to get more rest for myself every day. Okay, you change that as an example. So we have, I intend to get peaceful work. Okay. I intend to reduce screen time and improve family time. Wonderful. I intend to work on my health. Wonderful. Okay. What about the others? No more? Okay, keep them coming in. Let's see. I intend to be healthy and fit. Everybody is fitness conscious now. Everybody wants to get fit. It's good. It's good. It's a good thing we're focusing on health. We need to focus on our health. So when you say intent to be healthy and fit does not necessarily mean physical. See, when we're talking about intent to be healthy, we're talking about overall mental, physical, social well-being. Okay. My mind shouldn't be affected by few people in my life who disturb my mental peace. Do not spend time on thinking. Okay. So how do we change this from a resolution to an intention? We say, I intend to not be disturbed by individuals who do not contribute to my mental health. Okay. I need to find a way to reduce stress. This is a resolution. Intend. I intend to find a coping strategy to manage my stress. Okay. So I hope that helps. Moving on. So identity as a performance driver. Now, high performers don't rely on a motivation, right? They succeed because they have a set plan. They rely on identity consistent behavior. What do I need to do every single day in order to be more successful? So I will develop a certain high performing behavior, right? I am someone who prepares before reacting. This is an identity performance driver, right? Once you start thinking this way, your mind will automatically create momentum, right? Let's take, for example, you wake up in the morning and you say, oh my God, it's a Monday, again back to work. How am I going to manage my day? There's so much to do. So you've woken with this intention that's already very negative, that does not promote any sort of physical drive, right? So what will happen? Your body will feel sluggish, you will feel lazy, you will feel sleepy, you will feel tired, exhausted, and not interested. Whereas you wake up and say, all right, today's a new day. Let's see what's in store for me. And I'm going to get the best. I'm going to make sure whatever I can do, I'll do it best. You are going to be more goal driven and you will achieve more in a shorter period of time because of your mindset, right? So when you have an identity, you need to now start looking at yourself as, how can I be different? How can I be the best version of myself? And how can I be someone who is totally showing some sort of identity consistent behavior? I am someone who closes loops. Rather than saying I'm someone who fixes things, I'm someone everybody comes to for help. Now start saying I am someone who closes loops. These loops will be, it could be blocks, it could be problems, it could be conflicts, it could be unnecessary arguments that take place. If you believe you are someone who closes loops, you are the person who ends the argument. And finally, I'm someone who manages my energy, not just time. It's not important only to manage your time, it's important to manage your energy. Energy means using your energy on specific tasks that require your energy, not wasting it on unnecessary tasks that do not promote you as a identity. Moving on. So let's look at this identity statement, and I want you to make this and write it down right now in the chat box for me. In 2026, I consistently operate as someone who dash, fill in that blank. Just fill in the blank in the chat box right now. An example would be, in 2026, I consistently operate as someone who makes deliberate decisions under stress, protects focus in noisy environments, acts early instead of firefighting, and communicates with clarity and boundaries. What will your identity statement be? It can be from any of these four, or it can be your own. as of now, what will be your identity statement? What is going to be that driving force for you 2026 to see the best outcome? Okay. We have someone who says you're going to be communicating with clarity and boundary. Okay. Act early instead of firefighting. Wonderful. What about the others? We need some more answers to come in. Option 2 protects focus in noisy environments, makes deliberate decisions under stress. I want to remain consistent to achieve the goals and avoid negative energy. Wonderful. Okay. All of the above. Okay. Superb, superb. Wonderful, wonderful. And I hope when you say this, you need to say it with so much intent. You need to believe that you can see this through. Okay. You have to follow through on this. Okay. Moving on. So here there's behavioral proof. Now, what does this behavioral proof talk about? Right? So there are certain rules: low friction, observable, repeatable, under pressure. So for example, how do you see what my identity driver is? Right? So for example, when you want to have low friction, you want it to be observable, and you want it to be repeated, the behavior to be repeated even under stress, right? You look at simple things that you can do to manage the reaction or the outcome better. For example, a 5-minute planning before an inbox opens. What do we do most of the time, specifically when we are working? We reach our workstation, we put on our laptops, or we get to work, and before you know it, you are immersed in this world that is probably falling apart sometimes, or it's just so overwhelming, right? So sometimes just taking a 5 minute before you start to plan out how you are going to, what your day is going to look like, right? So I'll give you an example. I plan my day every single day. Okay, I wake up in the morning, and while I'm having my coffee and enjoying my coffee, I'll plan my day for and see through it that it gets done. Reason being, when you set an intent for the day, you're more likely to get it done versus not. If you haven't written it down for the day, you haven't got it done, right? It works like a simple list. You carry a grocery list, you go to the supermarket, you buy things that you want, and you also end up buying things that you did not have on that list, right? So look at it as a mental picture. If you write down things, you will not only complete what's on your book or on that pad that you've written, but you'll end up doing much more than what is expected. Engage in one daily closure habit. Now, what is this daily closure habit? It can be as simple as reflecting on your day, what you've done, how much you've achieved, tracking your progress, and looking at that. So let's say, for example, you worked out for 30 minutes today. Just a tick mark and say, I've worked out today. I'm proud of myself. I've come this far, and I intend to do this tomorrow as well. Okay. And finally, one intentional pause before key decisions. This is absolutely crucial. The reason why we need to pause, reason why we need to take a deep breath and think about a decision before we execute it is because sometimes just taking a moment helps us see clarity, helps us understand the situation better and the outcome better, right? So make sure that we have behavioral proof always, because when we have behavioral proof, our intent is more likely to take place. Moving on. Now, what are SMART intentions? As you know, SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So it's not about control. It's about removing ambiguity in our life, vagueness. Many of our goals, many of our resolutions, now we've made intentions, right? But many of our resolutions are very vague. Sometimes when we've decided to do something, it lacks clarity. So when we use SMART intentions, we're using specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound intentions, which means that it is completely clear. And let's look at what exactly happens. Now, when you're looking at what exactly happens, right? We do this because we want to remove the vagueness of the goal. We want to be very specific and sure what we want by the end of 2026, right? How often do we need to do this? So when we're using smart intentions, right, it depends on the type and time frame of your goals. But it is recommended to review them at least monthly or quarterly, and to check for related actions into daily routine. So for example, if let's say you want to get fit, what are you doing on a daily basis? Keep checking on that. And also quarterly or monthly basis, where is my progress at? Today we've got so many apps that can help us, but very often we are too lazy even to feed in the data every single day. So instead of that, you can also start having trackers at home where you simply tick mark. And sometimes when you tick mark a calendar that you've worked out today, that is a visual representation that you've achieved that much as well. And you don't have to look at your phone. Okay. Now, in what context? A person should use smart intentions when they want to transform a general aspiration into a clear, actionable, and trackable objective. Okay. So we want to track something, therefore, you need a smart intention. And for how long? You need to plan and think about this. The time frame varies. You can have a short term intention, which means that this week, this is what I'm going to do. This month, this is what I'm going to do. Or you can say, I intend to work 30 minutes every day for the next 1 month. That is a smart intention because it's specific, measurable 30 minutes, and it's attainable, right? Medium term intentions or goals would be, let's say, 3 to 6 months. Where do you see yourself? And long term intentions would be like a 10-year plan or a yearly plan. So regularly review and adjust the goals. That is important. If you don't adjust the goals every time, that is when we will struggle and we will fail. Okay, moving on. Next. Okay, so the ABC model, which is a behavioral architecture. Now, remember, every behavior that we have is engineered, right? It's continuous or it is not. Okay, it's conscious, you are very well aware of it, or it is not at all. So there is A stands for the trigger. What is the context in which I am experiencing this? What is my behavioral response, automatic response to it, and what is the consequence? Do I see something? Do I get something out of it? Right? For example, you wake up and you're feeling very lethargic today, very tired, right? You don't want to go and work out, right? So trigger, the context is you're tired, you're exhausted, you cannot work out, right? Your behavioral automatic response would be, I'm going to rest it out or I'll go tomorrow. Whereas if you look at the context and you say, all right, today is a day I do need to work out. This means that I need to at least put in 10 or 15 minutes. So the trigger is that you need to work out. So what you will do, you will wear your gym clothes, right? Or workout clothes. Behavior will be automatically the mind is tricked into saying, all right, let's now go for a walk or let's see how we feel. And then the consequence is the reward is that the brain registers it as, oh, hey, you worked out today. I'm proud of you. Good job, right? And I'm sure all of you all have experienced this that on a day when you're not feeling like it and you end up engaging in that behavior, the reward itself is soothing and you feel really good about it. How many of you will agree? Yes or no, that this has happened in your life? You don't want to do something. After you've consciously forced yourself to do it, you've experienced this reward and this, your brain and your mind and your body is feeling so good about it. Right. Yes, this is exactly what happens, and this is exactly what we need to do for our intentions. Moving on. So we have a case here, which is based on cognitive decompression failure. So Ria finishes work at 8:30 p.m. Her day was full of meetings, messages, and decisions. She feels mentally tired, but not sleepy. She lies down and starts scrolling on her phone for videos, messages, social media. An hour has passed and she finally sleeps late and wakes up still feeling tired the next day. How many of us are Ria? How many of us actually do this? Yes or no? Let's be honest. Say me if we do this. Okay, if we do this, that we finish our day and it's been so hectic, so tired, and therefore let me just scroll through my phone to just distract myself. And before I know it, I'm doom scrolling for like 1, 2 hours, right? Okay, so let's see in this case what should happen next. Next, please. Right. So over here, the ABC model would be that what started it, right? So she was tired all day long. This is what the trigger was. What was the behavior? She ended up scrolling on her phone without thinking. And finally, the reward was she felt a short break from thinking, a feeling of switching off completely. And what was the hidden cost in this? Her sleep was affected, low energy the next day, no real rest. Instead of this, what should she have done? What do you think she should have done in this case? Next, what do you think? So, when you are mentally tired, what do you do automatically? So a lot of you said, this is me. This is what I do, right? I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I only want to sit, put my legs up, relax, and scroll through my phone. The TV is on, the music is on, you're on your phone, someone's having a conversation, you're not even paying attention, right? Because you're so mentally tired. So, what are you actually looking for at that moment? Are you looking for rest? Are you looking for distraction? Are you looking for comfort? Are you looking for silence? What are you looking for? Right? We're looking for silence. Some of us are looking for a distraction, right? Because we're so overwhelmed. But how many of us are able to shut that feeling off and say, you know what? It's been a hard day at work, but I survived it. I'm able to do this much. I manage this much for the day. Right? We don't do that. Many a times we look for comfort. We want for something very automatic. It's an automatic behavior. We don't even think we're doing it when we forget how it's affecting our health in the long run. Moving on. Another scenario. This is a reactive work pattern. Aman starts his workday at 9:30 a.m. He opens his inbox and sees many emails, messages, and meeting invites. He starts replying immediately and jumps from one task to another. By the end of the day, he feels so exhausted, yet the most important task is still pending. How many of you all have experienced this? That you know so much of work and then you've still not done what you aim to do that day. Yes or no? That this is something you've experienced. I mean, I've experienced this for sure at some point in my life. Yes. Let's see what's happened in this case. Next. So, what was the trigger? Too many emails, right? As soon as he saw the emails, he felt overwhelmed. Behavior reacted to everything. So much to do. Okay, I do not know where to start. I do not know how to plan. I do not know how to figure it out. Reward, I was busy. I was trying to be responsive. I was feeling needed. I needed help as well. What was the hidden cost? I couldn't focus on anything. It ended up being more stressful, and there was no real task made on important tasks because I did not prioritize. When I don't think or plan, that's why I said 5-minute plan how to go about your day can transform the way you look at the progress that you do every single day. Next. Next, yes. So here you need to apply this to your work. So what usually pulls your attention first thing in the morning? Is it emails, messages, meetings, requests from others? What pulls you in? What do you feel? Emails, messages, meetings, requests from others. What pulls you into work in the morning? Emails, meetings, okay. Meeting. Okay, all of the above. Now, what is one task that usually gets pushed to the end? What don't you attend to? Or what do you feel that you're not giving enough time? What do you feel you're struggling with to give time to? Okay, request from others. Okay. Now I want you to write down one trigger, okay, one thing that's triggering you, one automatic behavior. How do you normally react to it? And finally, one reward you get from it. What is the consequence that you're getting from it? Is it less sleep? Is it overwhelmed, feeling worried, feeling constantly burnt out? What is it? Okay. Main thing is you need to identify the reward, the consequence. When you identify the consequence, you're then able to change that intention. ABC model works well when we look at the trigger as being one, which is the most important that you want to attend to. So let's say your most important factor is a meeting that you need to attend to. Then the trigger is that you go for the meeting, you address the meeting. The reward is that you come out feeling more aware of what you need and how you need to execute everything. So prioritize it, take a moment, and then think of it. Okay. Next. So what is this consistency as a strategic asset, right? So number one, it builds trust with self. I need to first start trusting myself that I can do it, right? Most of us say, I can't do this, or I failed in this, or I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. So that means you don't trust yourself enough to get it done, right? So if you want to start being more consistent and seeing that you're doing well, you have to first start trusting yourself and say, you know what? Hey, I trust myself to get this done. Hey, Mavis, I trust you to get this done. Speak to yourself sometimes, because that again is the only appreciation that you need in order to push forward. Second, it reduces decision fatigue. When you are more consistent, you will know what is the next step to take rather than wasting time coming to a decision. And finally, it creates a momentum without motivation. Why do we procrastinate? Mainly because we are not consistent. So the minute you start becoming consistent, that procrastination doesn't even have place. It doesn't come in. You do not even need motivation from somebody else because you're automatically working. Your behavior is automatically working. Okay. And finally, next. Finally, what is consistency as a strategic asset? Which habit in your life already runs on consistency? Right? Definitely brushing teeth. Let's hope everybody is brushing their teeth. It's a consistent routine. Your morning routine, logging in from work, all of these are consistency. Right? You, without fail, you will log in to work at a particular time. You know this is consistent. Now, what would change if one important behavior became just as automatic, right? So if you wanted to manage time better and it became automatic, you will no longer need to worry about it, right? So make your intentions automatic. The more automatic your intentions become, the more likely you are going to become successful and the more likely you will remain consistent in the long run. Moving on. And finally, we come to the end of our presentation today. I hope I've stuck to time. What is a future self-reflection? Imagine you are in December 2026. You look back at the last year. Ask yourself, which small habit helped you the most? Was it just an intention? What did you stop doing that saved you time or energy? And what worked so well that you kept doing it? Okay, I want you to think from a future perspective now and think about when you are standing in 2026. I want you to imagine that everything that you've set in momentum right now as an intention, I want you to think of it as having achieved it successfully. Okay. So, what is that one small habit that you will do today to change tomorrow? Okay, quickly in the chat box, let me know, what are you going to do? What is your take home today? What do you feel about today's webinar? And do you feel that this is something that is going to transform the way you see your life ahead? Okay. I hope this webinar has helped you look at yourself differently, set a different intention, and remember, no resolutions, only intentions. Okay. Thank you so much. Over to you, team. Okay, there's a question, I think. Could you elaborate more on changing goals every day? It's a bit confusing for me. All right, so let's say you have an intention that you want to get fit. Okay, you want to exercise on a daily basis, and this is something that you want to set in motion. Adjustments means that you adjust depending on the environment, depending on the experience. So let's say your time usually to exercise is 1 hour. And today, because of XYZ reasons, you have only 30 minutes to do so. You use those 30 minutes. You're adjusting those 30 minutes. But at least you're getting in a workout done. Okay. So adjusting it depending on your environment, your circumstances, but not letting go of it. You still intend to practice it. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Mavis, for the wisdom, depth, and practical direction you shared us with. Your insights remind us that growth is not loud, it's intentional, consistent, and deeply personal. And thank you, everyone here, for showing up with the openness and curiosity. Your presence is what makes Friday musings meaningful. As we head into the weekend, remember, just pick one small idea from today and act on it. That's where the transformation begins. Wishing you all a very restful weekend, clearer thoughts, and kinder conversations with yourselves. We have our next Friday musings on 23rd of Jan, which is on grit and patriotism. So we are looking forward to having you join us on our future session on 23rd of Jan. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great weekend.